Is 8 o'clock on the dot. Rise and shine, my friends. It is time for Coffee Talk on a beautiful, I'll say it, beautiful start to our Friday morning. Rise and shine, rise and shine. We've got a busy broadcast ahead today. Top two things we're watching. A spring break, what? Of temperatures? What? What's happening? Yeah, we actually do. We've got some adjustments to these temperatures. How much warmer will they go? Plus, we are welcoming back the Coffee Talk drive-thru. That's right. We are going to have WESH meteorologist Marquise Mita joining us in just a little bit. Chat with him about his first several months here in Orlando. See how that's gone, and kind of see where he came from, how his career brought him to Orlando, and all that fun stuff. So we'll check in with him in just a little bit. But first, let's look outside live. It is a lovely start to the morning, but we are watching just a little bit of fog around, right? Here's a live look. This is the Kennedy Space Center. A little bit of fog on the horizon there this morning. Lots of clouds over top of us, but it's a fairly quiet start to our day. Here's a look at our first morning live Doppler radar. And in the metro, at least, what you're seeing over east of town is actually something kind of cool. I had a couple of people asking on Twitter about it and Facebook about it. This is called basically when birds take off in the morning. So what you're looking at there is not actually rain. So that's kind of cool. Call them rooster rings. Meanwhile, over here north and west of town, these little showers are actual showers. So there is stuff around. That's the good news. It's not anything strong, nothing severe, nothing like that. Temperatures this morning, not looking too bad. It's 66 degrees in Orlando, 68 in the Villages, 66 in Ocala, and we're sitting very comfortable at about 67 degrees in DeLand. So temperatures are looking good. We're feeling good. 12-hour forecast continuing to show great stuff. 76 our 11 o'clock temperature, 82 degrees by 1 p.m., 84 degrees for us by 3 o'clock this afternoon. So all in, it's going to be a nice and warm forecast. It's going to be a pretty decent day. We are, of course, talking about temperatures today that are going to continue to climb above average. When we talk about the averages, I think that this is an important thing to at least visit, right? The average high temperature this time of year, 72 degrees, right? Actual retail price, 84 degrees this afternoon in Orlando, 83 in the Villages, 77 in Palm Coast. So the temperatures are indeed going to be climbing. Yeah, it's going to be a nice and warm day. Laura says, I'm so sad to hear the news of Ken's passing. He was such a light in this world, and I'm praying for his family. I didn't see that he had passed. Man. We have a message from Kenneth's family. He passed this morning. Y'all, I was not expecting that. Man. Doesn't that show us, right, that, life is so precious? Oh, man, Ken was a good dude. Man, Ken was a good dude. I can see him, Marquise. We'll get to you in just a couple seconds, buddy. Man, I'm so sorry to hear of Ken's passing. So, Kenneth Otto was in our little Facebook group for years, joined us every single day for years, and was always so kind and was always sharing, little tidbits of information he had. And so it looks like he's passed this morning. So my thoughts and prayers go to his family. Man, that's tough. That's tough. So it's going to take a while to let that one settle in. So, all right. Well, Kenneth loved the weather. That's why he joined us every day. So let's just kind of make sure to think about Kenneth as we go outside and enjoy the weather, not only today, but really these next couple of days. Temperatures are going to be getting warmer and warmer. Friday, today, 84. Record is 87. Not really expecting records, but for tomorrow, look at where we go, right? Temperatures are going to be climbing. Forecast in Orlando, 85 degrees. Record, 86. We're going to be in the ballpark of records in Sanford. I'm going to be at the airport all day tomorrow doing the aviation day. Schwitzen, and even over to Leesburg. It's going to be warm. Beachside community's not quite as bad, but yeah, it's going to be a warm forecast. Laura said it right. We're truly a family here. We've kind of become a family. You know, we've done this coffee talk thing for like 7 years, maybe even more. I don't know. But we've done this thing daily. And so we have kind of become a family. And we have, we have people that come and go, and that's just sad. But Kenneth loved Rockets. He loved broadcasting. So we'll remember Kenneth. Absolutely remember Kenneth. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Chris says I'll be mourning Ken for a while. Man, well, let's keep Kenneth in our minds. I need to, like, that's a shock. I need to let that one settle for a bit. So, yeah, rest in peace. Rest in peace. We do have a new member though to the Coffee Talk. I don't know if he's ever watched it before, but I know that he's about to be on it. And Kenneth was on Coffee Talk as well. But we have a new member to the Wesh family from a couple of years ago. And a couple of years ago, I'm like completely disjointed. Marquise Mita, I'm found out somebody that has followed us for a while passed this morning. So I do apologize. I'm like a little disjointed this morning, but we need to keep it going. And so I want to introduce Marquise Mita. I don't know, Marquise, if you've ever watched Coffee Talk before, but here we are. We do this thing 7 days a week in the mornings, and I'm so excited to have you on here. To chat. So first off, tell everybody a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on the show. I haven't watched it before. Also, thank you for making me a seasoned veteran. Saying I've been here for a few years. It's only been a couple. But I appreciate you aging me up a little bit. But yeah, joined Wesh back in July of this year. I think my first time on air was like probably early August, and then we got hit with severe thunderstorms. My first day on air, of course, we did have a Hurricane Idalia as well. So it wasn't a major hurricane here in Florida, but it was nice to get my feet wet a little bit with that system moving through in September. And I feel like since then, to be honest, weather's been fairly quiet. I'm lucky that we're in an El Nino year. So my first year hasn't been super active here in Central Florida, but I know over time it's going to pick up and whatnot. But I came here from Atlanta. I worked with the Weather Channel previously. Did like my time there. Atlanta's a great city, but I think that Central Florida is slowly becoming home for me. So in a few more years, I could probably say it is home. But originally I'm from Massachusetts. I do have a background in the Air Force as well. That's where I started forecasting before I graduated college, and that took me all over the world, from basic training in San Antonio to technical school in Louisiana, back here in Florida as well, in Jacksonville, and then overseas to Romania, Hungary, Greece, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and a couple of bases in between. But I've been out for 2 years now, just been strictly forecasting on air. So it's been a good time. It's been a good career so far, a short career. I feel like I just graduated yesterday, but I'm excited to see what the future holds for me.
Yeah, you definitely have a unique background. And first off, thank you for your service. I mean, I've said that to you, but so a fairly unique trajectory in your career. So how do you think, let's just start with your service to the country. How do you think your time in the Air Force helped you in broadcast meteorology? Because you did weather there, right?
Yeah, basically every time before a pilot takes off, they need a weather briefing just to see that there's going to be no inclement weather on their flight path. And I think it's funny. I say this all the time to my friends I got to forecast with in the Air Force. There's so many people on this planet that are amazing forecasters that don't even have degrees, right? We got the opportunity back in, I believe it was 2016. We were working or training in Jacksonville, Florida. So that was like my first little stint in Florida. We were training at the Air National Guard base, and we got a call, and we had to forecast for Air Force One because the president was going to come down to Florida to do a speech after the Pulse nightclub shooting. And I thought that was, like, at the time, like one of the greatest experiences of my life. I never been so close to someone who's sits in such a high seat before, right? So even though we had like high pressure over Florida that day, perfect blue skies, I felt like it was the most important forecast of my life because I was delivering it to someone who was directly involved with the president. So that was super cool. But I think that my time in the Air Force, it just gave me a lot of confidence in forecasting that probably shows on air every time I step in front of the green screen now.
I mean, I've never forecast anything associated with the president of the United States, so I feel like that's definitely something really unique. And you've got, experience on such a worldly level that, like, I feel like so many of us don't. I mean, I've only ever forecasted in the United States, and so I feel like that also has to give you such a unique perspective on things. Let's move forward. So then you end up working in Atlanta, doing work with the Weather Channel. Tell everybody a little bit about kind of what you did with them.
Yeah, so we did have a platform called Local Now. It's more of a streaming service that the Weather Channel owns that I was Monday through Friday meteorologist with. And typically, I would go into work. Everything that I did was pre-recorded. So that added like a different elements into forecasting weather because you have to really get it right. If it's pre-recorded, you can't go back and make too many changes to what's being delivered. So we forecast for, I don't know, what is it? 35, 36 cities across the country from Boston all the way out to LA. And then, of course, whenever there was like severe weather, something breaking, we'd come in and do it live. But it was pretty cool. And then filling in for other meteorologists who work primarily on the Weather Channel, doing like live hits and whatnot. So that was a good experience as well. And then on top of that, we had other shows like Weather Gone Viral, which still airs.
Yeah, you're still like pop up on the Weather Channel doing those things because it's in the can, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think those like smaller shows were even more fun just because you got to let loose a little bit and talk about different viral weather clips and how the atmospheric phenomenon pretty much breaks down. So that was a fun experience as well.
Yeah. All right. So then you've moved to Central Florida, and it's been a few months, not a few years. Blah. So you've been here for a few months. What are your first thoughts of Central Florida as a area to forecast and as a community and all of that fun stuff?
Well, it's interesting being back in local TV just because you get to interact with an audience like I'm doing right now, right? Forecasting for the Weather Channel, it was fun. It was challenging just because I'm forecasting for different places all across the country. But it is nice when you can walk down the street and someone's like, hey, like I recognize you from West 2.
Yeah.
I didn't really get that experience too much when I was working with the Weather Channel just because I'd be in Atlanta, but forecasting for, I don't know, Phoenix, Arizona.
Right.
TV face to face. So I do like this a little bit more just because I can have those interactions with the community that I'm immersed in.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And you get the opportunity to do the severe weather because I feel like doing that Local Now work, you really didn't get an opportunity to do a bunch of severe weather. So at least there's the newer challenges on the local level that you get as well.
Oh, absolutely. And like here in Florida, I feel like the weather changes every single day. So if we're going from highs of 85 yesterday to dropping down to the 60s next Monday. So
yeah, so much fun. Okay, so what is your favorite weather? What got you into the weather world?
It's funny. I think that like with so many meteorologists, there's like that catalyst, that almost canon event that happens in your life where there's a massive storm and you find out that weather is your calling. For me, that was Hurricane Katrina back in 2005.
Yeah.
Just seeing how catastrophic of an event it was and how many people it shaped and displaced from their homes and what we could have potentially done better. Kind of turned me on to weather back when I was, 11 in 6th grade, I want to say. So,
oh, my God.
Learning about meteorology. So, my bad. But just continuing to learn about meteorology that same year, I had a great teacher whose husband was actually a meteorologist, and I was like, that's a really cool career. And I thought at the time that I just wanted to do something to stop global warming, by myself at the ripe age of 11. I thought that was possible, but I realized, I can affect a lot more people becoming a broadcast meteorologist and possibly, just get a forecast right, get people out of harm's way when there are natural disasters occurring. Yeah. So I'm a pretty stubborn person, and I find something I like, and I kind of just stick with it. So
love that. Yeah.
Found what I liked back in middle school, and I've stuck with it since then.
I love that. All right, so this is where I'm done interview. I mean, you've got the job, so like I'm done interviewing you here at least. So Coffee Talk is fun because it's a little bit of weather, but it's a lot of the train just flies off the tracks. Okay, so this is where the train is going to fly right off the tracks, and I'm going to open it up to the questions from everybody as well, because we have several hundred people hanging out, and so we've got to ask. First question, okay, is coffee in the morning? And if so, how do you take your coffee?
So, fun story. Every year I try to stick to a New Year's resolution. I used to drink coffee like every single day at work. And I realized that my teeth are not as white as they used to be.
Yep.
So this year I made the switch from coffee to tea, which people are telling me is just as bad. But previously to January 1st, I don't know. I really don't like the taste of coffee in general. So I kind of take it like a shot. Like the quicker I, the better. Which means like if I don't have any sugar right next to me at the time, I'm just gonna drink it black and just take it all in a big gulp.
Yeah. That real man style. Meanwhile, I've got to put the cream in here just to survive the thing. So, so Chris says, "Yay for another tea drinker." Yeah, I got to tell you. I mean, I know the man is handsome, but half these women in here are like, is the man single? I don't see a ring. We're not going to go into that deep of a personal world, but I'll just tell you, he is one handsome son of a gun, and yes, his teeth are so flippin' white that if the coffee has done its thing on my teeth, I get you wanting to protect it because your teeth are gorgeously white. Like I'm over here just jealous as can be about it. So, all right,
well, we gotta be fair, so we gotta look good, right? So, trying to maintain the pearl whites for as long as I can, for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got a few extra years on you, and I'm going to blame the coffee because, I brush my teeth constantly, so I don't know. I need to do the teeth whitening thing. All right, Mickey's asking, what's the craziest weather you've ever experienced? With the worldly view you have, that's an interesting question.
We had some pretty bad snowstorms growing up in Massachusetts, like massive ice storms as well. I remember, like, we shut school down for pretty much the entire month of December back in 2008. So people still talk about that ice storm that we had. Trees were snapping left and right. I know my house was without power for about, I want to say, 5 or 6 days.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty nasty, which is why I don't want to live in Massachusetts anymore. Back when I was in Kuwait back in 2020, so this is like still like pandemic times.
Yeah,
we had some pretty gnarly sandstorms, and I mean the entire country is pretty much a desert, right? So every day you're kind of susceptible to getting a sandstorm there. But it was a dry season, so we didn't have too many low pressure systems moving throughout the area. But we got one pretty bad one that just grounded flights for the entire day. And like you'd step outside, you've got winds whipping at your face at 30, 40 mile per hour speeds.
Wow.
It's also on average throughout the month of August, like anywhere from 115 to 120 outside.
Ugh.
It's hot. You got sand hitting you in the eyes. And like, even if you open your eyes for a second, you can't even see your hand in front of your face. Like that's how dense the sand was. So
I can't even wrap my head around what that would be like.
Well, yeah, you got to stay indoors for sure.
Yeah.
But thankfully, it didn't last forever, right? It was probably about like, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, but it's still grounded operations just because it was so breezy outside too.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's really, that's a whole other type of weather that I can't even imagine forecasting for. But I've only ever forecast for Florida, Marquise. So, like, I've got a very sheltered purview.
Yeah, but you're a subject matter expert at this point, right? So, like, I feel like you can forecast for Florida like a whole month in advance, and it's still going to come out accurate.
I'd like to think so. Which, sidebar, you mentioned that. I'm going to have WJCL Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Nelson on Coffee Talk like next Tuesday, because we're starting work on our hurricane forecast and we're diving deep into that. And so we're going to let everybody in on a preview of that. So be around for that on next Tuesday. Okay, Cindy Edwards on Facebook is asking, Marquise, what has become your favorite thing to do here in Central Florida during your free time?
I think I'm pretty simple. Like I'm trying to like established a routine where I get to go to the gym every day, come to work, play basketball sparingly. It's still my favorite sport. So any day that I can go play basketball is great. But I will say something that Florida has that no other state does, specifically Orlando, are theme parks, right?
Yeah.
And got the chance to go to Halloween Horror Nights, not once, but twice. And I still want to go back next year just because it was such a fun event, right?
Yeah.
Even like waiting in lines, I still had a great time. So,
but waiting in line, I feel like Halloween Horror Nights, waiting in line is half the fun because especially if you're around a group of people you like.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so and what's cool too is each year Halloween Horror, I don't know if you know this, each year they retool it completely. Like totally different houses, totally different themes, all that.
Yeah, that's what I was told. I mean, there was some things that I was really excited for that ended up being like not as fun.
Yeah.
And the things I had low expectations for were even better than the things I went in like saying this is what I want to do. So
right.
We went through I think it was like the Walking Dead. Like we sat in line for like an hour and 15
right,
minutes.
Right.
It wasn't even that much. But then there was one event where I think we were the last ones to show up. They were about to close it down. And I think it was like Exorcist themed, I want to say.
Yeah.
And because we were the last ones, like the people who were organizing it were like really trying their hardest to get us scared. Like you heard them on walkie-talkies, like they're going to be coming around the corner in about 2 minutes. So
oh!
So that was really fun.
All right, so somebody asked, Mickey over on YouTube asked, Disney, SeaWorld, or Universal, what's your favorite? So we know we like Halloween Horror Nights, but out of the family of theme parks, what would you say you lean toward?
So I'm waiting for my family to come down so I can take them to Disney. So I haven't been to Disney yet. The only one I've been to here in Orlando has been Universal, and I've been to SeaWorld and a couple other places. I've been there in San Antonio before, so I might check it out again. I imagine it's going to be a little bit different here.
Oh, yeah.
In Orlando, but the only one I can say I've been to here is Universal. So that
and you're in the age range. I mean, like I've got the kids, so I feel like I have a second mortgage of Disney annual passes. You know what I mean? Like, but I will say, like, no sponsorship here. The SeaWorld annual passes are like kind of cheap, so like you can pick that up and for us if we're blacked out at Disney because even if it's a second mortgage, Marquise, I still have one of the lower tier Disney passes that has a bunch of blackout dates. If we're blacked out from Disney, odds are we're hopping over to SeaWorld because it's, so you can check that out. Let's see here. Larissa, we can all see you're pretty fit. What kind of workout do you stick to and how often do you work out? Everybody, these girls are swooning over you. Buddy. Just throwing that out there.
It's a good thing I can't see the comments, otherwise my ego.
Yeah, right.
But I try to go like at least like 5 days a week. Right now I've had this goal for the last year where it's like I've been trying to bulk for I want to say around I probably started it like January of last year, but I'm trying to hit 200 pounds on the scale. I like growing up, I was always like a very skinny person, so it is nice that I've been able to like put some size on myself. But last year I had 2 slip discs in my back. So I've had some challenges along the way, but it's nice that I'm closing in on the goal that I created for myself last year.
Wow. All right. So this is a comment from Crystal. She's probably going to be embarrassed that I'm saying this, but she says, so I know one of my one of my fellow Coffee Talk troublemakers has thought of this, but he looks smaller on TV. This is a whole bodybuilder in front of us now. I say I'm in love.
I mean, they say the camera cuts 15 pounds, right? Or adds it. I don't remember how the phrase goes.
But also, when you're in a suit, because here's the thing, like, I mean, obviously, I met Marquise before, he was even hired here, and my first thought was like, man, this dude needs to teach me how to build up a muscle or two, because you walked in and you don't even, you don't carry yourself like a schmuck or anything, but you've got a persona to you. Like, you work on yourself and bravo, because, I could only dream of having that situation there. but so everybody is, Jeannie says he's swoon worthy. I mean, you should see these guys. They're hilarious. You got this whole room on fire. It's obvious my demo is the ladies, but it's also obvious your demo is the ladies as well.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. I'm just like trying to get better one day at a time. I do turned 30 this year, unfortunately, and I think a goal that I have for myself, like around my birthday, is to compete and be on stage again. So we'll see if I can stay healthy through that process. But I guess stay tuned.
So you say again. So you have competed in the past. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I mean, in high school, I've always played sports. I ran track and field in college too. So like I've always had like a decently athletic background. But I think after college, I just wanted to stay competitive somehow. So I picked up like weightlifting and kind of dove into it seriously. I've done powerlifting shows, and after a while, I'm like, well, all this weights is a lot of stress on your joints, but I think I still do love the art of being active inside the gym. So I kind of switched from powerlifting to bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And I competed in 2021 and got my pro card, and then in like natural bodybuilding, it's like a men's physique show, and then after getting my pro card, I won my first pro show that same month. I haven't really been back on stage since.
Yeah.
I think in my head, it's like, because I won my first two shows, like coming in second place, I'd feel like a failure. So I want to just make sure if I'm stepping on stage again, I have something worth, or like, I just want to be locked in and make sure that I could still win first place.
Yeah. You want to compete at the level you want to compete at.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Catherine says, welcome to WESH. You're a great asset. Your resume is very impressive, and you have awesome swag. Chris Pierce says, seems like a genuinely nice guy. He's a genuinely nice guy, yeah. So that I can confirm that even when the cameras are turned off and we're just popping back and forth in the weather department. You know how I could tell that he's a nice enough guy the very first time is when he threw a little smack talk, right? Because my love language is talking a little smack, and Marquise picked up on it real quick and threw that smack talk back at me. I'm like, all right, we're gonna get along, okay, you and I. If you get the job, which of course you did, and months later, here we are. So Gail says, no, go ahead.
I think your audience would love you and Kellyanne doing a joint coffee talk, because it'd be smack talk back and forth. You guys would never get to weather.
We don't, yeah. When we had our promo record, I feel like because you and Cam were on the other side, and it's like you guys are all business. Manolfi's kind of like in the middle, like, what am I doing? And Kellyanne and I are in the corner like a couple of siblings fighting back and forth the whole time. What a mess. All right, so I have to ask, so leaving the Weather Channel, you're interviewing at different TV stations. What stuck out about WESH, Central Florida, that made you want to come here? Because I know that you were interviewing at other TV stations. How did that process go for you?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, I already had a friend in this network. One of my friends that I made at my first station in Greenville was Zach Maskovich. He's one of our sports reporters. So it was nice to come into an environment where I already knew somebody, so you don't feel like you're just like starting over and fresh and brand new. So that definitely weighed on my decision. Also, I lived in Florida back when I was in the Air Force, just outside of Jacksonville, so at Stark Army Base. That's where we did some training, just to make sure that if we ever deploy with the Army, like, we know the ins and outs and whatnot, and we can help them out in any way possible. So I lived there for 4 months. So it's an environment that I'm already somewhat familiar with, because I was outside of Jacksonville. But I mean, seeing the sunshine every single day, warmer temperatures here in Florida, it almost felt like a no-brainer compared to the other places that I was applying to.
Yeah. Although with this El Nino year, we usually in the wintertime get way more sunshine. So sorry about that. We should go back neutral this hurricane season, which sucks. And then, for next winter, we should get more sunshine. So that's good. Definitely good. Crystal's asking. No, go ahead.
It's been an interesting trade-off, right, this El Nino season, just because when I came here, I didn't really know how it's going to shape up, not just only the hurricane season months, but also the winter months, right?
Yeah.
Like, you go into an El Nino season, you're thinking, hey, we're going to see less active hurricanes throughout the months of May through November. But knowing that, I didn't know on the flip side that the winter season is going to be a little bit more active, right?
Yeah.
We're going to see a couple more storms, much more cloud coverage. So it's been interesting to learn firsthand.
Well, and history shows that as we transition into spring, and as winter's fighting that last fight and spring is fighting to enter the room, we get truly severe weather with that subtropical jet over top of us. So, Sidebar, like, strap in, because when that pattern gets busy again, like, Central Florida's worst tornado outbreaks happen during El Nino springs. So, for me, it's just kind of like I'm enjoying this quiet stretch because I know February, March, it could get quite active. So, yeah. All right. So, while I'm at, anybody else have any other questions? I have to ask, when you look at your career as a whole, what do you think meteorologically you want your legacy to be? You had kind of mentioned is that it, the global warming kind of thing, or what?
I just want to be known as like a trustworthy source. Like when crap hits the fan, right? I think that people could turn on the television and be like, hey, like I like this guy, like he's giving me the information that I need to hear. And I think the best stories from viewers are when they hear one of your forecasts and they're caught in the middle of a storm and maybe they don't have cell phone coverage, or they only have cable at the time, and you're the voice of reason that got them to safety in a timely manner. So those stories are always the best to hear, and that's what I want to be known for here in Florida.
Man, that's my exact that's my exact response. I love that. I don't even know that I asked you that when we were in the middle of the interview. Like, I don't even know if we asked you that, but I love that so much. All right, so people are asking what your favorite food is, cuisine, snacks, all that. See how the train goes off the tracks and on the trains?
Oh yeah. Favorite food. I think hold on. Man, I'm pretty simple, to be honest. I think I can go for like shrimp linguine.
Oh, baby.
Get it right now. Dessert. I'm like a sucker for ice cream sandwiches. Like I can like throw back 6 of them in one sitting. So an interesting combination, right? A shrimp linguine and ice cream sandwiches.
Are you pregnant? No, I'm just kidding.
Not that I know of. Yeah.
Somebody asked if he was familiar with my hurricane forecasting. I don't think so yet, because he came in well after my hurricane forecast came out last year. So I'll have to show you some of the the nerddom long range forecasting that I do. I'll have to show you that as we put it together in the next couple of months.
Yeah, it's coming up soon. I know your reputation precedes you, because I think your hurricane forecast last year was pretty much spot on. So by the time I arrived, like everything was unfolding as you had foretold.
Well, I'll go over it with you. I'm putting it together now and working on it, but we'll go over it and nerd out. Justine's asking, does he have any good Eric stories? I don't know that we have any like funny anything stories together at this point yet.
I think we'll get there. I think the funniest one, I didn't even realize it happened, but
oh boy,
I want to say maybe it was during Rebellion. We were both working together, and you had asked me, hey, like, is it, like anything popping up on like the National Weather Service chat? And I didn't realize I was on camera when you had asked me. So I'm on camera, and I kind of like turned my back away from the camera to like check the computer, which is behind me. So they probably looked funny on air, but I didn't recognize it until Tony had told me the next day.
Nice. The other day we were doing the promo record, and he was running to Chick-fil-A, and I'm like, hey, can I get in on that? And so I asked him to pick me up a kid's meal. And so he comes back, and he's just like, the people at Chick-fil-A were looking at my back seat, trying to see if there was a kid in the back seat. So I was like, oh, boy.
It's funny because like, we got 2 completely different orders. I'm like ordering like 3 large fries, like 2 burgers, and you're just like, hey, let me just get some chicken nuggets really quick. So the contrast in orders was funny.
Yeah. They're like, what's going on in there? Do you have a favorite beach? Anne Marie's asking.
So I've been to Daytona, I've been to Clearwater, and I've also been to Fort Lauderdale. So I want to say Fort Lauderdale is my favorite so far.
Yeah, Las Olas, good place. Clearwater's gorgeous. You have to check New Smyrna. It's one of those. It's a secret. Don't tell anybody. But it's New Smyrna's good time.
I see it all the time. Like our tower cam shot of New Smyrna is beautiful, but I just haven't gotten the chance to go up there yet.
Yeah, and you'll have to go to when your family. Like such a nerd. I'm a lighthouse guy. Like I love the Ponce Inlet Lighthouse. If you're not a lighthouse person, then it's dumb, right? But like for someone like me, I love to see that, and everywhere I go, I have to do that. Also, Taylor points out, New Smyrna Beach is the shark bite capital of the world, so there's that as well.
I'll watch out for sharks if I ever go.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else you want to share about you? You know, you've got such a fascinating history. You bring so much of a different perspective to the Wesh Weather team, and you know, we're so excited to have you. What is there anything else that you want to mention to the folks that are here?
I feel like I'm an open book, so if you ask me a question, I would answer it honestly, but I don't just like talk about myself too much. So I don't know. If you guys have any other questions for me, feel free to shoot, and I'll give you my best answer that I can. But
yeah,
off the top that I'd like to bring to the table.
Priscilla's asking, what's he looking forward to in mastering and weather? But what you don't understand though is Marquise has a master's degree.
Yeah. So I got my master's from UMass actually. And well, being in the Air Force too, and like when I was in college, I was in the Air National Guard, so doing it part time. I was like, hey, if it's gonna get paid for, I might as well just stay here, do a victory lap, hang out with my friends an extra semester or two. So
yeah,
that was definitely very fun, and I'm thankful that I got the opportunity to do so. But what am I looking forward to master here in Central Florida? I guess as we transition from an El Nino season to a La Nina season. Just having like a more active hurricane year, right? Where we have a lot more to watch out for. So getting that under my belt would be my next big goal here in Florida.
Yeah. Well, and for, you know, preview hashtag like the Gulf of Mexico this season, I think is the hot spot. Like last year was, you know, the last couple of years has been kind of quieter there. Gonna have to, I mean, obviously Idalia did its thing, but like I think we're gonna have plenty to watch in the Gulf of Mexico. So that'll be a lot of fun. That'll be a lot of fun. All right, man. Listen, are you doing news today? What are you doing? I'm off, baby. So
I got Cam scheduled, so I'll be doing the noon and the 4:00 show.
Very good. Well, listen, thank you for taking some time and hanging out on Coffee Talk with us. What we'll have to do is after this year's hurricane season, we'll have to get you back, and hopefully we're not like too battle hardened, but you know, getting you through a full hurricane season, we'll have to check in and see like, how was it? Was it everything? You know, did you learn? Did you you know, yada yada, and go from there.
Okay, yeah, I'm always down to come back. So thank you for having me once again. It's been a pleasure. But I'll see you in a couple months, I guess.
Sounds good, buddy. Thank you for hanging out. Go do TV. I'm not.
Take it easy, you guys. Bye.
Thank you, buddy. All right, so Marquise Mita, everybody, a member of the Wesh Weather team for years. Yeah. For 6 months. But you know what's the cool thing is I feel like he fit right in. He fit right in and has been working his tuchus off to get up to speed and you know, as you can clearly tell, a nice enough guy. A guy that has served our country, a guy that has a very broad background in meteorology. And for me, it really is fascinating to hear the stories of forecasting elsewhere, because forecasting in Florida, in the United States, it's a very closed off silo. Like, I wouldn't even know where to get certain pieces of model data elsewhere in the world. And that's where Marquise is like, oh, I got you covered, man. You know, so it's really cool in that respect. So very cool. And look forward to continuing to see him grow on the Wesh Weather team. You can watch him weekend evenings. And just like I tell everybody for myself, like, when can we watch you, Burris? Well, weekend mornings and then all over the place. So he's doing the noon and 4 today. So there you go. All right. So that said, enough. Let's just make sure we're all good here on our weekend forecast. All right, so for today, 84, partly cloudy skies, couple of showers around today, tomorrow, more showers on Sunday as a cold front moves through, and then boom goes the dynamite. Those temperatures are going to be dropping off. Today's agenda for me, yesterday I did a ton of work on the long range forecast. Today I'm going to do a ton of work on the long range forecast, and yeah, come Tuesday, my friends, Jeremy Nelson's going to join us, and we're going to talk about cycle duration, how we got to the cycle duration, some of the areas that we're monitoring, and all that fun stuff. So tune in for that. Hashtag I've got some work ahead of me today. Okay? Any questions about the weather? You know, now that we've moved back from Coffee Talk Drive-Thru back to the weather, any questions about the weather before I go? The teenager says she's having very cloudy skies today because you didn't say hi to her. Taylor, I'm sorry. I didn't see it. I'm sorry. Oh, man. Sorry. Bye, everyone. Crystal says, have a wonderful Friday, jumping off to prep for work. Oh, yeah. Today's Coffee Talk is dedicated to Kenneth Otto. May he rest in peace and be out of pain now. May he be with his bride again. May he rest and no longer struggle. So sorry to hear about Kenneth Otto's passing. He was truly one of our little family members here in Coffee Talk, and it was definitely a shock to read that. But I know I can speak for only myself when I say, man, my memories of Kenneth are going to be a man who just loved a lot. He had a lot of love, and he always wanted to help. Always wanted to help. That's a good man, and he's passed now. But you know what? He's no longer in pain, and so I'm grateful for that. So yeah, Michelle says, I hadn't heard. He was a great guy. Yeah, it definitely, Michelle, the beginning of Coffee Talk, when I started reading the comments, it definitely caught me off guard. And like, I had to, I feel like I got completely garbled in my head. I couldn't speak much. Because I was just kind of trying to process it. But you know what? The older I get in life, the more I kind of realize that that's just what it is. You know, we're all going to pass. And to me, you know, the little bit of Kenneth that I knew, I'm glad he's no longer suffering. I'm glad that he gets to be with his bride. Susie says, I remember when he and his bride were on the drive-through. Me as well. I'll never forget it. He was so nurturing and he was so kind, and you can't fake that, right? And so, yeah, Debbie said it best. A huge Campeche for Kenneth. You know? He's with his wife again, and they're free of any ailments. Hey, that's what we all get to look forward to one day. I'm okay with that. Kenneth, rest in peace to Kenneth's family. Condolences from all of us. He was a special man to all of us, and he was a special man to his family, and we're all together. So Campeche to Kenneth. All right. Thank you all for hanging out for Coffee Talk this morning. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Think of Kenneth through the day today. If you knew him, if you didn't know him, this is a good man. So let's think of him and carry our day knowing that we lost a good man, but you know what? He's free of pain. So there's some relief to that. Thank you all. I will see you tomorrow morning on the air, starting at 5 a.m. on West 2. 8 a.m. for Coffee Talk. And then if you're a Seminole County student or you have a Seminole County student, the Orlando Sanford International Airport is hosting the Aviation and Aerospace Day. I'm going to be out there emceeing. My family's going to be out there checking out airplanes. It's going to be very fun. So I don't know if it's just Seminole County students. Like, I don't know how they check that. But anyway, take care, y'all. I'll see you later. Life is short, but sweet for certain.